I have chosen to ally with coastal and impoverished communities who are affected by natural disaster. This is a population that heavily intersects with BIPOC communities, and it's a population who will be increasingly disproportionately affected by disasters that result in climate change. Impoverished communities in coastal regions are struggling with many problems associated with natural disasters. Evacuating is not financially possible for this community during hurricanes, let alone moving away from the coast. Impoverished communities in this region are facing sea level rise, sunny-day flooding from king tides, and still have to deal with hurricanes that are increasingly slower moving, more intense, and dumping more rain volume on the spot. After Hurricane Harvey in 2017, which is a textbook example of the type of hurricane I just told you about. Low-income neighborhoods were affected by more flooding than rich ones because they were in the floodplain. Only 17% of homeowners in the 8 counties most affected by Harvey's flooding had flood insurance, and it gets even worse. Latino communities in these areas didn't apply for FEMA disaster aid because they were afraid of being deported from the U.S., whether they were legal or not. This group faces racism and classism from both the government and the organizations that are supposed to be providing them relief, including the Red Cross. I want to ally with this group because it's close to my heart. Ever since I was little, I've loved severe weather of all types, but I've never liked what it's done to the survivors. While weather is always going to be my passion, I have chosen to go into emergency management in a few years instead of meteorology. This means that I'm going to be involved with helping to mitigate the effects of coastal natural disasters before they even happen. This group takes the brunt of the damage and is ignored in the aftermath, and I'm passionate about helping to change that. There are several active steps I'm going to take to become an ally of impoverished people on the coast. Step number 1 is donating to local organizations like Gideon's Army in Nashville instead of the Red Cross, whose profits go directly into helping their community. The second step I'm going to take is to get a degree in emergency management, where I can then begin to work with this population gone zero. One of the problems in emergency management is that many of them just sit behind a desk, and they make disaster plans without ever seeing the neighborhood they're making plans for. I will be making sure to get this community involved with the process because they're the ones who are going to have to deal with the effects of my plans in the future. The third step that I plan to take is to listen to what their needs are in the first place. It's the most important step of allyship, especially when lives have been lost to hurricanes because their voices went unheard. They know what problems may arise in their own neighborhood during a disaster better than I do. And therefore, I will listen to their needs every step of the way. And I will not take credit for their role in the planning process. I know that not everyone can do each step on this list, but everyone can do number 1. So please join me in doing so. The work of allyship is important in furthering social justice because it helps to elevate every voice that hasn't been listened to in the past, like impoverished coastal communities. In this case, it could easily save lives if we use our privilege to help speak up about the injustice this community is faced in every natural disaster. Through allyship, we can create equity instead of continuing to make life harder for marginalized communities. I like to think of it as a fence. You have the short people who can't see over the fence, and then you have the tall people who can see over the fence. By the tall person giving the short person a leg up, we acknowledge that every life is worth the same. It just takes a boost to get there.